Good evening, Grafton. This is the open hearing for the budget for the school department, and I completely messed that up, and I apologize. We are a little confused because there's no one here. Who, you want to talk about the budget? You have questions?
You're confused by that? There's never anybody here.
Well, we did have some one year, so, but we are here. If people want to come and ask questions about the budget, this is for the public. I don't know if, we're not supposed to really present anything, but the operating budget is on the screen. Maybe Jack can show that to the audience so that everybody who is watching can see. So we are here, and we will wait until, we have to open the hearing, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take a motion to open the public hearing.
So, second.
Public hearing is now open.
Awesome.
So now we wait for somebody to come and ask us questions about the budget.
Are we taking questions on Zoom?
We don't have Zoom.
No, you're not.
We don't have, no,
You're
we
not
don't Zoom.
Or
in here.
any broadcast?
Nope.
We're not doing that anymore.
It's broadcast on
Okay.
GCTV for the public, but we've had some bad experiences using the owl in this room and trying to
Yeah.
balance.
I didn't know if they were doing it at the same time
It would,
in the
it would,
back.
it would cost a lot of money.
Yeah, oh, okay.
To be able to do it. I
Okay.
heard 50,000, so. But since the select board is also meeting at the same time, they get the room that can do it.
Yeah, I'd forgotten there's just one room that doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we're here and on air. I feel like we need music.
I should have brought my work. I do have work.
What do you need?
I have grades to do tomorrow.
You can work on your grades.
No, I don't have my stuff.
Oh, well, if you could do it on your computer. What a dedicated teacher you are.
A, C, B.
A, B, C, D. You just did that. You really don't have any questions? Nothing?
Andy.
Wow. Glad we only made this 15 minutes.
That was the over a year. It's never, if it's going well,
You tell her.
we don't typically get questions. I've never seen them.
So strange.
We did get the ClearGov budget up and running, and it's now on the link is
Oh.
on the front page of the website.
Maybe you could walk us through it and, right now.
I'm happy to show
I'm
it to
just
you.
kidding.
I honestly haven't even looked
I
at
like-
it. All the stuff I know is solid in terms of the numbers. What we'll have to do is look at this year, but certainly into next year. Like that format, I really liked with our previous budget. That, at least in my eyes, that budget told a story. So we need to figure out the order of the ClearGov pieces, but the hardest part in terms of getting those thousands of lines into ClearGov, that's been completed.
Awesome.
$12,000 lines, right?
I don't know how many there are. 12,000 sounds high, but there are definitely thousands.
Can you talk about them individually?
I can do whatever you like.
Oh, no, we only have 10 minutes left, Jen.
Why don't you talk about your favorite parts of the budget?
Superintendent message is always
That is always very good.
it's a favorite.
Yep. The superintendent salary line.
I think we may, since I'll just filibuster, we may end up obviously keeping ClearGov.
Yeah.
No. Not allowed? We have somebody here to ask a question. Okay,
All right.
come to the podium. State your podium. Go to
It's
the,
just starting my
No, you gotta-
filibuster.
go to the podium. Say your name and your address. and then you
John
can ask your
Kelly,
question.
9 Countryside Road. I have 2 questions. I was just curious. Community services. I know it's a small number, but what is that exactly?
Good question. What's your second question?
My
I work
second
on
question
community
is
service.
because I know that the ARPA committee is putting money towards the HVAC system, replacing the HVAC system, and I know that that's been kind of dire for a couple of years. So I know it's not exactly set in stone. So what happens if the ARPA committee comes back and says, we're not giving you enough money to completely fix this problem.
Go ahead, Laura.
Well, it actually has been set in stone.
It has?
Yeah,
Okay.
so, and I think we have already gotten some estimates, so that money, and we've gotten some state grants as well. So it's covered, and what's gonna happen is we're gonna have a safe, beautiful middle school where the heat works all the
Yes.
time. So
Perfect.
we're very excited.
Thank you.
So, is that enough time for you, Jag? I'm looking
We're
that
waiting on
up.
Anita, but something to look forward to when the committee votes on the actual budget tonight, I will have your answer before that.
Perfect. Just wanted to give some questions just
We
to
love
It was a
it.
good one.
have something here. Thank you.
I'm trying to think what that is. I feel like I should know it.
I know it's been asked 100, not 100, 20 times. Dan, I can picture Dan whispering it in my
It's
ear.
only 26.5, so.
I know, but like,
It should be in the detailed budget that you.
Yeah.
It's in the line items.
yeah. Shouldn't we be able to search it up on that ClearGov system?
Yeah, no, you can. The problem is you've got to get a computer. That's why I like the book.
I have the book with me. Do you want it?
Looking at it.
I'm
I
looking
like
at it.
our book, not the Frankenstein book.
Okay, hon.
But during the filibuster,
I'll look.
I think next year we'll have a longer, almost like a pre-override type of superintendent message, like a longer, kind of maybe 5 or 6 pages to tell the story of that year's budget, and then pair that with the detailed lines.
I like that idea.
Did I screw something up? Well, we're not getting a copy tonight. so
Okay.
Oh, that's Dan.
I apologize.
It's not mine.
I know.
So it looks like,
It's very hard for me to read on my screen.
Okay.
We're gonna find an answer.
it looks like, civic activities, including interpreting services and translation for hearing impaired parents and non-English speaking parents and guardians.
Translations.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would make sense.
Yep.
Jack's back in the cave, but
He
That
can
sounds
hear us
about
because
right.
he is filming us, and he just gave us
All
a
right.
thumbs
Thumbs
up.
up?
Thank
So,
you,
yeah,
Liz. I wouldn't have expected.
almost all of that's just straight interpreter costs.
Thank you for
It
asking
is a
the
funny
question.
That's actually a
place
really
to
great
put it, but-
question, because 6,000 is missing from the Frankenstein budget.
Okay,
What?
That's a good catch.
I don't know.
It goes 3,000, 4,000, 9,000.
Oh, the account numbers. is that-
Oh, yeah, no, right.
I thought you meant $3,000, and
sorry.
I was like, that's
No,
Yeah, I thought the
maybe
same
not a
thing.
way to ask that.
but I bet it's in the line item piece that she read off.
Yeah.
Awesome. Here we go. We need 6 minutes worth of questions. Anybody else? Are you moving? You're not. Okay. Wow. About them Red Sox.
You know, that is the second time you have insulted us.
So Alan is there tonight. He chose.
Online, when somebody who I can't remember who said that
We're
finance committee was more
like a
fun.
budget, a pre-budget
Oh, I remember
formality,
everything.
basically. Every year we have to have
Everything.
a budget
Good, how are you?
forum.
Do they take
So
minutes?
camera is on.
On this?
You good?
There's no changes in this, right?
So are you going, are you do retirement
I think so.
before they go?
I think so. Let me
Can
see.
you tell her? 'Cause on the
Yeah.
thing, they're in a different order. Dan.
Where's my
Dan got
agenda?
back to me. translations, interpreting.
Hearing. Is that how you want it to go? Is that okay? I don't know if she can hear you.
Hold on.
Here, I have it printed out. I don't know. Do we have an extra one of these, Jay?
Yes, we do.
I didn't apparently get one.
Here.
Well, I see how it is.
There you go.
You have a laptop and a hard copy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it seems
I take
selfish.
notes on this bit.
It seems very
I take
creepy.
notes. Oh, we have a question. Please state your name and
Leora
address.
Brom, 74 Adams Road. There are a couple of line items on accessibility, both at South Grafton and Millbury Street. Can you explain specifically what those projects will be and why they're limited? Are the other schools up to date? Is that the issue?
Great question. I'll talk about the two projects first. At South Grafton, we're looking to have a substantial upgrade in the accessibility at the playground area. One part of the project being the hardtop. If you've ever been down there, they have basically like gullies, and it's just a mess. Finally, that in FY22 was approved through FY22 capital. That's going to come to fruition this summer. They couldn't do it with COVID and just a bunch of things. We have some other monies for some smaller renovations to that area. And then we went to CPA and put in requests for new playground structures, a new play surface that would drastically increase availability. That's going to go before town meeting at the upcoming meeting. At Millbury Street, that was approved, the modification was approved in FY22, but we're going to do it early summer this year. If you've been over there, it's kind of a strange setup. You have the road in front of the school, but parking on the two ends. So to have accessibility at the front, there isn't any. So there's going to be a large cutout made right in front where the flagpoles are. And that's going to be just handicap parking.
Great.
So those two things. Just today, I haven't even opened it, but this afternoon we finally had the first draft of an ADA assessment report. So we had the entire district assessed back in the fall, and they're finally finishing the report, which is great. That list is going to be huge. It just is. 6 schools, 600,000 square feet. It's going to be a long, ridiculously costly list. But we are already working in partnership with the town administrator. All of those needs will be identified, prioritized, and then built into the capital plan.
Great, thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for the questions.
Well, if we were able to answer 2 people's questions, then this was worth it. It is 6:59 PM.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Public hearing is closed. We will wait till 7 o'clock to call the regular meeting to order. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Welcome to the April 5th, 2022 meeting of the Grafton School Committee. I hereby call this meeting to order. We'll open the floor for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to our first agenda. Under general business, NGES and SGES school reports, but I'm going to ask you to step up first.
Thank you.
You might as well get up, Doreen.
Pardon?
Might as well
You
get up.
might as well come and join me at the table.
Have a seat.
You to sit? Okay.
Have a seat.
So it is with great pleasure and honor that I recognize Dorian Parker, who not only is a colleague but a friend. We are very excited to report that Dorian is retiring.
I can't wait to get rid of me.
And
No, please stay.
38 years. Can you imagine 38 years? So we have some important numbers up on the screen there. I'm not sure if you know what those numbers represent, Mrs. Parker.
18 is my age.
4 is, 18 is your age. What would 4 be?
How old I feel some days.
Okay. And 16?
How many years I've been a principal?
Yeah, so 16 years as principal at South Grafton Elementary School from 2006 to 2022. And then 4 years as assistant principal at Grafton Elementary School, and 18 years as a Grafton teacher. 10 of those years, I believe, was grade 4.
Correct.
And 8 in grade 5. So we were at dinner tonight trying to figure out about how many students she's impacted over the years, and we came up with between 8,000 and 9,000 Grafton students. Many of her students have come back to work for her.
Absolutely.
I would say that all of the administrators in Grafton are grateful for Dorian's guidance, advice. We call her Dr. Dorian sometimes. So it really is with great pleasure that we get to recognize Dorian tonight. And here are some flowers for you to take home with you. And then we also have a card. And I believe that Amy has something for you as well.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a story.
Uh-oh.
It's story time with Mrs. Parker. This is a proclamation to recognize Mrs. Dorian Parker, dated April 5th, 2022. Whereas it is the intention of the school committee and administration of the Grafton Public Schools to focus attention on noteworthy occasions and individuals, and whereas tonight the superintendent and school committee wish to recognize and congratulate Dorian Parker on her retirement, and whereas Dorian Parker has had a tremendous and positive impact on the lives of many young scholars, teachers, and administrators by instilling in them the importance of education, teamwork, discipline, and hard work, and whereas Dorian Parker has served the Grafton community for 38 years, first as a 4th and 5th grade teacher, then as assistant principal, and finally as principal. Now therefore, on behalf of the Grafton Public Schools, the school committee does hereby wish to honor, commend, and thank Mrs. Dorian J. Parker for her unwavering dedication to education and her 38 years of service to the children and employees of Grafton by naming the South Grafton Elementary School playground in her honor on this day, the 5th of April, in the year 2022.
Can't make me cry and then have me present. I just can't do that.
We'll get you a fancy copy once I fix Graciella's name. I misspelled it.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Do we have an opportunity to speak to Mrs. Parker? Or?
Sure.
Well, no, I just wanted, I know we'll probably have more opportunities, but I wanted to just have a moment and just, my children didn't go through South Grafton Elementary School, but I felt your impact and presence not only in the district, but in my own life as well. You may remember a very dark day when I came into South Grafton Elementary School making copies for the holiday breakfast, and there was a lot of things going on, and you invited me to sit down with you at your conference table in your office, and you let me cry, and you listened, and you hugged me, and I thought to myself, if this is how she handles somebody who's not even a parent in her school, just, a member of the community, what an impact you've had on all of the students and their families. Your caring and your love of teaching and education is always evident through the many presentations I've seen, through the meetings we've worked on together, and through that dark day when you really helped and really saved me. And I appreciate you, and I'm so happy for you. And I know whatever you do next, you're going to bring that heart into it, and that's the most important thing. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So this is very hard for me.
So I didn't realize you started in 2006. I think my kids started 2008 maybe. And so when we were talking to doing the principal search, and they're always asking what was the environment like, what the climate was like. And I was saying, as someone who's even hasn't been there for a while, it still feels very welcoming when I walk in. And so you've always set the tone of that type of school, that there's not it's just a positive environment for the staff, for the kids, and for the parents. So thank you for setting that and leading that charge. So
Thank you.
And everyone will miss you, so. So good luck. So everyone will miss you, so good luck, but congrats. I wish I could retire too.
I've heard that a lot this year.
You have a ways to go, though.
Eh.
Anyone else before it's my turn?
Sure, I can say something.
Go for it.
So my kids did not go to South Grafton, but you and I had an opportunity to speak on the phone almost 2 years ago. And at that time, just like you, I felt you were very warm and connected and looking for the best for your school. So it's evident here. And like I said, we have never spoken after that, but it's great to meet you today.
Same here, thank you.
So a long time ago, my oldest started kindergarten with Mrs. Parker. And there are two things I'll never forget. One, that she came home so impressed at the end of the week that you still knew her name and you spelled it properly. And two, I think it was like my second PTO meeting, you like volunteered me for something. And I didn't know anybody. Why don't you do this? Why don't you go run food for Oktoberfest or something? And then I joined the the school advisory committee. And that was my first kind of foray into what it's like to be a stay-at-home mom, being involved in PTO and stuff like that. And that set me on a path that led me here to this chair. And I thank you so much for taking a shy, quiet, go ahead and laugh, mom who, again, didn't know a soul and pushed me and got me here. And I wasn't even one of your students. So thank you very much. And I hope you have great times on your retirement and lots of adventures. But remember all those names.
I try.
It's getting harder, isn't it?
It's getting harder. They grow up and they change. so
They
it's like,
do.
oh,
All right. Well, thank you and congratulations again.
Thank you.
I guess now you have to work.
All right, yep. Put the game face on. This is what I can do.
Oh, you're just gonna stay, oh, you're gonna have her drive?
I mean, if you want,
Where am I?
I told you, this is your night, so you can do it all if you want. I'm happy to.
Oh, no, you come up, please.
I want to make sure that you get every minute of this moment.
It has truly been an honor and a pleasure to work in Grafton. I wouldn't have stayed for 38 years if it hadn't been. It's because of people like you and your children that have made it worthwhile and made the job easy, so thank you.
Do you ever stop and think about how much has changed?
Yes.
Like, the only things the things that come to my mind are half-day kindergarten transition, that was probably a challenge. How many superintendents did you work
Oh,
for?
I think we counted tonight 9 or 10.
Oh, my
Wow.
Who was your favorite?
The current one, obviously.
You're retiring
It
already.
doesn't matter, I still have a few.
We have until July.
That's how I lasted 38 years, Laura.
July.
the end of July.
Yeah,
The last
August
day of July.
1st, I'm gonna send you a
Call you up.
Yeah.
That's a lot of superintendents.
A lot
though.
of
Wow.
superintendents, a lot of principals working as a teacher. When I started teaching in Grafton, South Grafton was pre-K to 4.
4, wow.
It's
Wow.
now pre-K to 1. And when they ran out of room and they brought 4th and 5th grade up here, this was my classroom that I co-taught in with Priscilla Borchi. We had 48 kids in here at one time, 44 to 48, because their idea of co-teaching was Priscilla got a class, I got a class, they'll put us in here, they had the divider in case we needed it, we never used it. And we had probably the best last 3 years of teaching that I've ever had. So a lot has changed. Co-teaching has come in and is now a standard, and Grafton has grown tremendously. We've gone to full day K. We have paraprofessionals, we have school psychologists and guidance counselors and things that we didn't necessarily always have in every school back then.
So
But we've always had the best playground.
And now the best name.
That's right. Now the best name for a playground.
You got it.
Awesome. All right, take it away, ladies.
All right, so Doreen and I are here tonight. I'm Julie Flynn from North Grafton, and obviously we all know who Doreen is. And we are going to co-present on all that's going on at North and South this year because, as with every year, but more so probably in the last 3 years than ever, we have just been working so closely together and so closely aligned that it just felt right to be able to present
Absolutely.
together, so.
So we continue to work together for our students and families, and as Julie said, we're constantly on the phone. We are truly sister schools, North and South. There are so many similarities. We still retain our personalities as schools, but we've been able to, I think, really bring the schools together cohesively with curriculum and what we do and what we offer. So we're both very proud of that.
Absolutely. So just a couple of the talking points that we're going to go over this evening. Really want to focus in a little bit on the curriculum and where we are with that at this point in time, and then two major topics that have been part of our work for the last 5 or so years, SEL for sure, and then bringing back our enrichment and working with the PTO and PTG across the two buildings to be able to not get back to normal, because I don't think we're there yet, but to get back to a sense of being able to really build our community in the way that we did prior to the closure.
And we chose to speak to you tonight about ELA and math as well, because we know Millbury Street and North Street had, and we wanted to show how we build that from our schools to their schools and how it builds upon each other. So for ELA, we do so many different things. We have a 150-minute block for literacy, which includes Daily 5, which includes Foundations, which includes Haggerty. We have wonderful interventionists that have been added at both schools, which have made a huge difference at the kindergarten level for students who need just a little bit of extra support. We continue to have small group targeted instruction and everything that makes a true literacy block. The teachers are very skilled in what they do. They've been able to work with students, and I believe we are as close to normal where we would be on a regular year,
Yes,
thanks to everybody's hard work.
absolutely. Everything is back in terms of small group work and being able to flex kids in and out of classrooms and spaces, not having to worry about that, so it's been wonderful. So Dorian talked about a couple of the different things, but you probably have heard over the course of this year, I'm guessing Lisa Rice has probably shared out a little bit with regards to the science of reading and, what we're doing around that. We've actually been sort of ahead of the game with regards to that, with regards to DESE sort of putting that out there, and that we've been using a program called Haggerty, which targets phonemic awareness and phonics throughout the year. We've been using that for 3 years now.
Yes.
3.5 years. This is probably the 3.5 years. And we've been using it at kindergarten and first grade. And moving into next year, we are talking about how we can look at that program with regards to our preschool students in a developmentally appropriate way, and what would work with what's expected for exposure at that level. Dibbles is nothing new. I'm sure you have remember and have heard us talk about our Dibbles Assessment, which we use 3 times a year as a benchmarking tool. And same with Fountas and Pinnell, that is our fluency for reading assessment that we use. And so those things come together to really help us give a good understanding of where kids are at. And then our interventionists come in kindergarten to be able to support some of those kiddos that just need a little bit of an extra boost to keep them going and moving along. In terms of math, we have a lot of new exciting stuff going on in math this year that you may or may not be aware of. So we've talked before about the interventionists that we have for the literacy block, and this year we were able to retain some of those interventionists for a longer period of the day, to extend their day to be able to support some math intervention as well, which has been tremendously beneficial and helpful. And I'm sure we'll be looking at the data at the end of this year and into next year to really determine what that gain was for us. But they're primarily working with our students in both K and 1 that through our assessment, which is more of a homegrown assessment right now, we identified as really needing that level of support. Moving into next year, we're actually going to be moving into using the same curricula that the 2 to 6 building is using, or 2 to 5, I should say, envisions. And so as part of that, our assessment will move from a homegrown assessment to using the assessment that is through Envisions, which is fantastic and something everyone, teachers to administrators, have been hoping for quite some time. So that will continue to help us determine what students might need, not only in the classroom, but if they do need the level of intervention, that we have those interventionists to continue using as well. So they've been fantastic. And like I said, we were able to retain some of the literacy interventionists have extended their day. And then in addition to that, we've brought in a couple other people that have worked in district before in the math department to be able to support those students. And so far, nothing but positive feedback from our teachers and students' families around what they're getting with regards to that. So, go ahead.
Sorry. We also added a math coordinator this year,
Yes.
Jenny DeRost, which has kind of overseen this whole program and is working with the teachers.
And is leading up the PD.
PD.
Around the new curriculum and vision. So we had our first PD day last month in March, and we have another coming up in May. And originally we had talked about maybe not doing the PD until the very end of the year, but the staff was really on board for getting started right away, and Jenny was super excited to be able to take them on that adventure. So they got started in March and sort of just dove into it to start to look at what it looks like. And at the K1 level, they all decided to take one lesson and utilize it right now and implement it right now. And then when we come back in May, they're going to be sharing out and using that to then build off into a unit plan. So they've really they didn't just get their feet wet with it, they really have dove right in. So we're excited about that. That really gives us a streamline and through line up to the elementary North and Millbury Street. We were using a different program called Origo in the past, and just language is different, style is different, and so it'll be nice for us to know that all the work that we're putting in at the K1 level is transferring and transitioning right up to second grade as smoothly as it possibly can be. So. And just some pictures of what we do. I mean, as you know, we run a workshop model across the day at the K1 level, so math is no different than our literacy block. It's run as a workshop model, and Envisions will allow us to continue that. And so we're excited to be able to take what they have for us and structure the time a little bit differently, but also to be able to continue to use that model that our students and our staff are so used to.
Our social emotional learning, we also started that quite a while ago with Responsive Classroom.
Yes.
And have since built on that with Second Step. We added Second Step in as a pilot also about 3 years ago.
Yeah, the year COVID's.
And then we are up to every teacher having a kit and doing the lessons once a week, really learning how to be a good friend, how to deal with emotions, how to do different things. And we were able to, at South Grafton, get a grant where we bought a number of books on emotions and on different things. So the teachers, I believe at both buildings, really made SEL their professional practice goal this year, and are looking at taking the literacy piece and pairing it with the lessons that they're teaching, so the kids have it in several different forms. And that's just an example of one lesson up there that they're starting to put everything together. So when they're done with this, they're going to have such a resource for anyone to use should they walk into either kindergarten or first grade classroom.
Yeah, they've really identified a list of mentor texts that align with the Second Step program that is fantastic. So it's good for parents as well as for the teachers, because it gives parents an opportunity to see, like, okay, this is something that I can be doing at home very easily. You know, it's easy to go to the library, pick out a book that aligns with what they're working on in the classroom. But SEL continues to be a huge part of what we're doing.
Yes.
You know, and it's taken on a lot of different looks, I feel like, this year for our students and for our staff coming back after those 2 years. And you know, obviously it's impacted every grade level very differently. And, you know, for our building in particular, many of our kids have never been in a structured learning environment before. And so Responsive Classroom is a piece of what we do to help build community, but the Second Step program and a touch of social thinking at times too is what really helps with that explicit teaching for kids around how to engage in social interactions, how to problem solve, how to have a disagreement with someone without it turning into something more than that. And so I think our teachers have really enjoyed having this type of program that it's got a lot of role playing in it. And, you know, because it ties right to everything we're seeing right now with many of our kiddos coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dorian talked a little bit about Responsive Classroom. That's the first 6 weeks of school. We talk about this all the time at our level. It can't be understated that the first 6 weeks of school and even beyond the first 6 weeks of school is really a commitment and a dedication to helping kids understand what the expectations around a school community entail. And, you know I talked at North Grafton with our families even after that 6 weeks in December. I want to say it was at our PTG meeting we were talking about, it was continuing on much longer than it ever had in the past. And it's sort of become something that we're continually are coming back to this year, and, you know, wanting to make sure that everybody understands and that we continue to be clear and concrete about what our expectations, you know, at the school level are, and supporting students that are struggling with that, because so many have this year. And whether that's because they weren't able to attend a preschool program, you know, or maybe during the closure they were home for a substantial amount of time, and if you were home, you know, what you were doing was probably your job on a computer, and they were doing what they could to get by, or you were helping, you know. So it's definitely been a transition for many, and I think we have a couple years, you know, a good 2 years before we sort of make our way out of that. But responsive classroom and Second Step have really been a tremendous and integral part of what our teachers are doing each day. I think we've talked about our social conferencing has gone through the roof. You know, what we used to talk about social conferencing once or twice a day with kiddos is a constant. And Dr. Cummings and Mrs. Gasper have actually come over to North Grafton quite a bit on Tuesdays to help cover during our recess block, to help some of our other meetings happen. And I think that they've been a part of some of those social conferences as well. And so a lot of repetition, but we'll get there.
But for children to be able to recognize what's a big problem and what's a little problem, and then be able to talk about it and be able to move on. Because if they know it's a little problem and they can help fix it themselves, they're able to move on afterwards. If it's a big problem, they know they need adult help. But being able to actually figure out what it is and tell you, that's half of it right there. And I think having the vocabulary, having the words to say to an adult what's going on, or they need help, has been huge. So it's been a great program to have.
Absolutely. And while our preschool folks are also using Second Step, this past spring, it wasn't even this past spring, it was like 2 weeks ago. It was very recent.
Last Monday.
We brought in a training that was created by the Life is Good folks called Playmakers, and it sort of had a dual lens of social emotional learning with a trauma-based, sort of trauma-informed care background to it. And so all of our preschool staff had the opportunity to attend the training, whether you were a preschool teacher, you were a preschool speech pathologist, preschool para, everybody had the opportunity to attend the training. And Dorian hosted it over at South Grafton, and it was a great training. It was a really nice opportunity, particularly to bring the paras and the teachers together all at once, to be part of a training, and to remind us of the fundamental, like, joy that we have, the opportunity we have to bring joy to the lives of our preschool students and our youngest learners, and the importance of all the social emotional pieces that go into it at that age, so that when they do get to kindergarten, first grade, and beyond, they have not only an exceptionally strong foundation for learning, but they also have a security and a safety around being in our schools, and knowing that it's okay to make those mistakes, it's okay to have those moments of upset, and that we can move beyond them. So that was a training that was brand new to us this year, and I think everybody really enjoyed it. We got some positive feedback on it. I apologize, that picture of the autism tree didn't come out nearly as clear as I like, but it was a great graphic that everybody really held on to. So.
Now the fun part, enrichment.
All right, so one of the things that has, I think, sorely been missed over the last couple of years is our ability to connect with our PTG at North Grafton, and the PTO at South Grafton. And so this year it's been like, I don't want to say it's been like Christmas every day, but it's been like a celebration every single every time we've met with PTG and we've talked to them, because we've been able to bring back so many of the community events that we haven't been able to hold over the course of the last few years. And we've been able to bring back parent volunteers, and we've had people that are excited to be able to come in. So snowshoeing was something that, in order to make snowshoeing happen at a K-1 level, you obviously have to have a lot of adults on hand. Robin Largess is phenomenal. However, you can see how many kids needed snowshoes and snow gear put on. So we were super happy to be able to welcome families back to come in and help out with that. We were able to do our fun run as a run this year, not as a dance-a-thon. That was great last year. It was a nice change of pace, but we were able to do the fun run outside. We had families that were there, came to cheer people on, and that was fantastic. Just recently, we've held our first all-school assemblies, and we had pumpernickel puppets, which I believe South Grafton was able to bring. You guys brought them in too.
Not yet.
Not yet. They're coming.
Coming in.
But that's the first time, that picture up in the top right-hand corner, that's the first time we came together as a school in over 2 years. Everybody in the cafeteria, and we were so excited. We practiced 3 days in a row. We weren't even sure how it was going to go, because none of the students in our school had ever done an all-school meeting with everyone in the school. So we had the preschool come and practice, then we had the kindergarten come and practice, then we had the first grade come and practice. Then we all practiced together, and then he was one of the first to have us all truly there together. And since then, we also brought Uch back, Brett Uch-Kunish, who's a motivational speaker for kiddos. And so we've had 2 now, and it's what we are all about, and it's what we've always done, and has become such a big part of our community building experience for these kiddos. So I'm just so happy that we were able to bring them back, and the reason for that is our PTG and our PTO over at South. The work that they've put in, and connecting with former PTG folks to be able to make some of those things happen, and to know how to make it happen, is just awesome. So super excited to be able to do some of those things. Still to come, we have the Spring Fling coming up for on the north side, and we started to do spring nature walks, which is something that we've talked about over the years. We've always done our nature walk in the fall, and this is a picture just a week or so ago. We did we're doing a spring walk too, so a little something different, but again, the commitment and dedication of our PTG to get things back on a roll.
Just semi-normal.
Yeah.
And same as North, PTO has been phenomenal for South Grafton as well. We also went snowshoeing. We also had people come in. And just want to point out, PTO paid for the snowshoes several years ago, and they've been a wonderful addition for both schools. We have yet to have people come in, but they are on their way. We start the week after vacation. We have Discovery Museum coming in for first grade. We have Pumpernickel Puppets also coming in. Our fun run will be at the end of May. We have Animal Adventures coming in for pre-K, so all of a sudden we're able to have everybody back. And it feels wonderful. The kids are excited. Many of our kids haven't had any of these experiences. We did what we could virtually. We did what we could last year. But the PTO has always been in the background at both schools. What do you need? What do your teachers need? How can we help? We know that we can't bring in experiences, so they actually bought microphones for our teachers because they were straining voices. We're still doing our Square One art, and book fairs have been part of the kids' experience. The yearbook is back. We have J&J Reptiles coming in, an ecotarium. And the PTO just recently, I believe for both schools, bought little robotic mice. Now that we have computer teacher, thank you. She's teaching the kids coding at kindergarten and first grade level, and they can do it. So they are coding these little robotic mice, and they were in the library today's Wednesday, Monday, coding them to go around on whatever path it was. So they're excited. They're getting to do things they haven't been able to do, and we wouldn't be able to do any of this without our PTOs, without their support, without their checking in on us, without their making sure that, everybody has what they need. So we can't thank them enough, the community enough, for continuing to sponsor us. We couldn't have our Oktoberfest again, so my last Oktoberfest was before COVID, which was kind of sad. But we were able to do the raffles this year, and we did them online, and it was a great turnout. We did really well. So they were able to improvise and find other ways of doing it. But we couldn't do half of what we do without their support.
I think we're just so thankful for it takes a village. We've always said that, and it truly does. So Dorian mentioned the headsets, and it's funny because I took a picture of a teacher using it 3 times, and my children just keep deleting pictures off of my phone to make storage for an app that they want, and every time Mrs. Fletcher's picture got deleted off. So they love the headphones that the PTG brought, and obviously the mask mandate has gone away. but that doesn't mean that teachers aren't still wearing masks and students aren't still wearing masks. So we still have many teachers that, both with and without a mask, are using the microphone because they've found that it's just been super impactful, particularly at our level, to be able to do foundations when we're talking about articulating sounds and whatnot. It's definitely come in handy. So they are beyond grateful for those. And while Oktoberfest had to happen as raffles because of the time of the year that it was, we are able to do Fun Fair, which is going to happen in June this year. And so we're excited to bring that back because that's been a few years since we've been able to do that. And it's weird because many of our kids don't even know what Fun Fair is. And, you know, so they've, you know, talking to them and even talking to their parents who are on the PTG. Like, we have parents on the PTG that have never been a part of a fun fair before. And so we're excited to be able to bring it back, whatever it looks like. It, you know, I'm sure it'll look a little bit different, you know, than it has in past years, but we're happy to be able to bring it back and maybe start some new traditions and just keep that community building going. So very excited about it.
Awesome. Great.
Nice job.
What do we have?
Any questions from the committee? Jen?
So your school in particular, and you already kind of talked about it, but your school in particular, they don't know what normal is.
Right.
And so I guess just how has that transition been going? You talked about it a little bit, but I guess from the student standpoint, like I'm sure it's just a big difference for them. So I'm wondering if you've seen a difference in just, even just their learning or their personalities or how they interact with each other, like.
I think
What
for
impact?
kindergarten coming in particular, some of them hadn't ever left their house, so it was new for them. They may not have been to a public restroom, so that was new for them. We had to teach them that. What normally would take them till about Halloween to settle in took until closer to the Christmas break.
Right.
But they're where they need to be, and they have since caught up and are on track where our kids would have been a couple of years ago. So it's really interesting to see how well they've adapted, and once they found their way and kind of figured out what kindergarten was all about, they're good. Our first graders may have not been in school if they were home for the year. Some may have been hybrid and brought back in kindergarten. But they had a little more of an idea of what school was like and have been able to adapt a little bit quicker. But things still aren't the same for them. We still have our lunches that are separated for the kids right now.
Right, you know, like, so we made the decision at both schools to keep our lunches. We went from 2 lunches
To 4.
pre-COVID to we've had 4 lunches for the last 2 years to be able to give some distance and some space. And although we could have made the change, maybe it was a month ago or so, to go back to just 2 lunches, for everyone's sort of sanity around one more change happening, we
Right.
decided, you know, let's keep things as it is. Everyone's used to the schedule, the kids are, the staff are, and let's make that transition next year. So, you know, next year we'll go back to having 2 lunches where tables are turned and facing, and there are 10 kids at a table versus 3 kids at a table, you know, but I agree. I think, you know, it's interesting to see kids that, you know, kiddos who haven't necessarily been in a school environment. It definitely took a significantly longer period of time for them to adjust to expectations and demands that weren't necessarily academic related, but more so just being part of a group and following directions. And this is what we're doing right now versus your choice. Your choice is later, you know, and so it definitely took a little bit longer for, in particular, our kindergarten kiddos to make that transition. I would say our first graders that came back from remote learning, I was really impressed with how they were able to transition back in. And if you ever got to see a remote session of school last year at any grade level, but I know at least I can speak to our grade level, the routines were so well established and so similar to how we do things in the classroom that I think that helped them to be able to come back into the building. You know, and the teachers, just by virtue of, you know, being creatures of habit, the ones that taught virtually continued to have the same structure in place in a remote environment. So those kiddos really made a nice transition back this year. And then our preschoolers, they're such little people, but they are so happy to be in school, and they don't know any different. So they, you know, this year there were certainly things in place at the beginning of the year that they got used to. And, you know, once the mask mandate was lifted, they couldn't have been happier. And preschool in particular, and all those little wet circles are gone, so we're happy too. But yeah, it took a little while, but they're there and they're working so hard. And the teachers are, you know, we were just talking today with the first grade teachers about, like, we've really started to see kids start to make that shift. And that's a shift we typically talk about in January, but we're there and we're making it and we've got plenty of time ahead of us. So excited to see what the spring brings and keep on chugging along.
And it all couldn't have been done without the fantastic group that we both have at our schools.
Absolutely.
The teachers have worked tirelessly. They have given it their all and then some. They've always been people to look out for their kids and their students, and they really stepped up. I don't want to say stepped up, because they were already there. They went above and beyond, and just, they've made it what it needs to be for the kids. They've made the transition smoother. They've made sure that things are in place so that kids don't know that it's a transition, a difference. So I can't speak any more highly of the staff that we have and the job that they've done.
They're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Thank you. Liz?
I don't know if you've thought about this at all, but I was just wondering, is there anything more that we could do as a school committee to support the amazing work that you've been doing at your schools?
Give us a day to think about it.
Day to think about it?
The answer is
All right,
yes.
we'll reach
but-
out to.
Sure.
I think the biggest challenge this year probably has been guest teachers, substitute teachers
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
district, and it's always been a challenge. It always will be a challenge, I think, but this year that's probably
Yes.
been the most impactful.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to college kids coming
Come
back
home.
in a few weeks to be able to fill some of those positions. But that's one of those areas when Dorian's talking about our teachers. They're phenomenal every single day, but the flexibility and adaptability with regards to how to continue to support our kids as best we can when we've been down staff, and a number of staff has really been admirable.
challenge,
So they've done an outstanding job.
Graciela?
She can go. I think Laura had her hand first.
Laura had her hand up first.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I wrote down flexibility. So you said that, and that just triggered me, how grateful I am that the youngest kids coming into our districts have had both of you and the staff leading during this time to come in and just looking at the curriculum at the second step, can't read my writing, on the SEL programs, and knowing, okay, we need to be flexible, we need to shift. It's okay that they're not where they used to be. It's okay, we can think about what we're doing. So it was really wonderful to hear you use those words, and then when you just said flexibility again, it just it triggered that to me, that's how we are, and you're also being flexible and helping our newest families into the district and helping them, because I can imagine this past 2 years, scary for everyone, but probably the scariest for our newest families who have never been through the district before, and their kids have been so young, and some haven't been able to be vaccinated, and all of the questions and concerns. And I just feel very fortunate that we've had both of you guiding, and thank you.
For those new families that were coming in, they haven't been able to step foot in our building until recently. So all the orientation, everything we did, other than we did have an open house day where they could quickly come in and meet the teacher and things, they had to trust us. And we're grateful that they did. But for them, it's nice to welcome everybody back in and say, hey, come see your school.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you a little question, but before I say that, so it sounds great that you're having differentiation of ELA and math. I hear you say you have interventionists for both ELA and math, and you've been able to tailor your instruction with small groups and been able to just shift around groups as they needed. You also mentioned the social emotional support that students have been receiving in a teacher's responsive classroom and second step in social thinking. I didn't hear anything about differentiation because it sounds like it's a school-wide SEL. Can you talk a little bit about the interventions that students have been receiving that don't necessarily do well with the tier 1, or they need a little bit more support?
We're fortunate to have school psychologists.
They were great. We're awesome.
They are awesome. Lunch bunches still go on, working with students as needed, getting into classrooms and seeing what's going on. Are there tweaks that can be made? That I think we don't mention it because it just goes on. It's something that's part of the school.
Yeah, so as part of Second Step and/or social thinking, all the classrooms have that going on in the classroom, but if there are students that need something beyond that, they might participate in a lunch bunch that's focusing on a tailored aspect of a previously taught skill with one of the with our school psychologists at either building. So there is opportunity for that. We are a smaller school though, and we do have a school psychologist in each building, and they have other responsibilities.
Right.
So that's something that we're continuously talking about and trying to, we stretch them really thin, our school psychs, but we're doing our best.
There isn't another additional person, like a adjustment counselor or a school counselor?
That's us. We do have each school now a BCBA,
Yes,
which is helpful to
absolutely.
help,
With some of the
tease it
really
out. What do
bigger
we need?
things.
Do we need more of a behavior aspect of it? Do we need more teaching zones of regulation and having kids identify their feelings and emotions so we can work from there? I did happen to mention to Mrs. Gasper, I think last week, that it would be nice to have a school adjustment counselor, even if it's shared between the buildings, just to deal with some of those things that you are bringing up that might be better served by.
I like that you mentioned about the ELA literacy, that you're moving on to the science-based reading interventions that has been recently, it's not recent, but has been brought to light about the new research on, it's like 20 years old, but research, it's not just us, the new science for reading. So I really like that. I don't know much about the Haggerty curriculum, but I don't typically do younger kids, so.
So right now, the Haggerty program it's preschool through
Yeah.
second grade is what they have as a program, and like I said, we've been using it for at least 3 years now. K and 1. We started off in K and then added first grade 2 years ago, I believe, and we've seen some really nice progress in our kiddos' scores, particularly around their ability to pull apart sounds, pull apart the words.
But you already have
sounds within words.
foundations, so.
Foundations,
Yeah.
yes, has been in place for a while, but this is a nice. It targets a different skill, so
Right.
it's a phonological awareness piece, so it's really pulling apart those sounds within words and being able to manipulate the sounds within words. And we've really enjoyed it, and more recently, it's come out as one of the programs that everyone's recommending, so
Yeah.
we've already been using it, which is
Awesome,
just a bonus.
thank you.
I had a question about, so you say that the kids are kind of where they should be at this point in terms of social development and are they ready to move on to grade 2? Are they ready to leave the building?
Well,
Are there any special, I guess I'm
love
wondering
to
if there's,
stay.
I'm just wondering if there's anything different that you might do differently this year in terms of easing that transition for them. Because they just got back into the building this year. They've finally gotten up to speed, and now you're going to take half of those kids and they're going to move on. I didn't know what you guys usually do.
So we typically, and we are planning different events for our first graders moving up to the other older buildings at the end of this year. So they will go up and do a step-up day where they go and visit. I know Mr. Wilshire and Mrs. Lape are coming down at North Grafton to do like read-alouds and to meet the kids. My sense is that those read-alouds will probably look a little bit different than they have in the past, whereas they used to come down just to sort of read and be familiar faces to the kiddos. My sense is that they'll probably be having more conversation with the kiddos to talk through some of the concerns and questions about what they're going to face as they move on. But, wherever you are is where we're going to meet you on any given day, COVID or not. And so I think that's what the teachers at our building will do to prepare the kiddos, but I know that that's what North and Millbury Street will do, is they're preparing the kiddos to, arrive to them in second grade next year. Like I said, I think the whole world has, there's a couple of years that we have to sort of evolve around everything that's happened in these last couple of years. But I think we'll meet the kids where they are and keep them going and move them forward as best we can. And they're already doing a wonderful job, so no doubt that they're going to keep on.
And for some of these kids, they've only been here for 1 year, so on the other hand, they're used to moving. They've been at home, or they've been back, or they've been hybrid, and they've come in, so for them, change may not be as difficult as it might have been for somebody who'd been there, preschool, kindergarten, and first grade. So I think it depends on the student,
Flexibility, stability.
and, yeah.
I also wanted to ask about the professional development. Are you doing that together, or are you doing it side by side?
Together.
Together.
So all the teachers come together, and
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great. All right.
We like to do as much as we can together.
We do.
I think it's fantastic. You know, there's been a lot of talk over the years about, you know, why is South doing this and North does this and they're different, and we're much more similar now than we were when my kids first started, and I love that. I think because they talk, the kids talk, the parents talk, you know, they meet other kids and other parents at activities external to school, you know, and they find out that, you know, well, North Grafton does this, well, South Grafton does this, and it becomes like a giant, like, it shouldn't be that way. It should be as similar as it can be, but still, like you say, you have the penguin, you have the owl, whose name I can't remember.
I don't either, afraid now.
I know the penguin is Waddles, but I don't know what the owl's name is. And there are two owls, because there's a Foundation's owl. I can't remember.
Echo is the
Echo.
foundation's
Yeah,
owl.
that's right, Echo.
But I think being able to be similar, but still have our own personalities and still have fun fair and Oktoberfest and different things that everybody in town can participate in, brings us more together than it does separate us.
I agree. I think it's great. Anything else?
No, just, I do appreciate
Yes, we do.
having the two schools like working together so much, because I think since you guys have been presenting together for the last couple of years, we can just see, it's nice to see. And so I think I appreciate the schools trying to, being the true sister schools and seeing it, and then it's coming forth in your presentation, so thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting us present together.
Absolutely, thank you.
Oh, we forced you. We didn't let you. You were summoned. Don't you remember?
This is a highlight coming to talk about what we're
Oh,
doing.
that's nice to
It's a total
hear.
highlight.
It's a highlight here.
It is a highlight here. All right. Anything else? I think we're done. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you again, Doreen.
Congrats.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Doreen, I am sure they will let you back at Oktoberfest.
I was gonna say.
To collect raffle money.
Who else is gonna call the raffles?
Right, and I will be there with a big wad of cash, so
I
I
mean,
will
you know,
see
we
you
could
then.
just put her in the dunk tank.
No, we don't do dunk tanks.
Don't do dunk tanks anymore?
Not at Oktoberfest, no.
Darn it.
No, it's too cold.
And
Always
I'm not
too
close
cold,
enough
that's
to
why it's
retirement to say
fun.
I won't do the dunk tank, so I still got a few years.
It's a great video of Jay in the dunk tank.
I've seen that video.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank
Get
you.
your flowers.
I will not. Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Oh, we didn't do a picture.
Oh, we can do
Do
that.
you want to do a picture? Here, do you have your phone? I was gonna bring it up, but then,
No,
one time
no.
I brought it up and you didn't.
It's fine.
We just get out of the way.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
we gotta show Doreen how this works.
Yes, because I don't know.
You've never done it before. I love how everybody else just runs away. Jen, can you grab me a water? Because I'm gonna start coughing. Why don't you grab your flowers?
Thanks.
And Jay usually gets in the picture too, don't you, Jay? Oh, it's right here, Jen.
Doreen, you want to get, so you get the,
Do you want me to take the picture? Yeah. Yeah, we need to see it. It needs to look all official and stuff.
Oh, that's nice. That color is dynamite on you.
I know.
Mimi and Jay, you also, but those colors.
We match, we coordinated.
Yeah, you know, I've never seen you in blue, so it looks really nice.
Thank you.
You could drink on that, though. We'll drink on that.
Do I have to?
Side sit down.
I'm still afraid of her.
Don't be.
Uh-huh.
Michelle?
Yes. She said I had to talk to Michelle about getting an invite. No, it's okay.
Wait, what?
I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay.
Mrs. Gasper is ready to present.
Yay.
So thank you for having me again. I don't think I can actually follow up on that North Grafton, South Grafton presentation. I think that was fantastic. And Julie did highlight, probably the highlight of my week so far this week. It's only Tuesday, but was recess duty today with our kindergartners and first graders. And it's amazing how they can advocate for what their needs are out on that playground. So it's been a lot of fun, actually.
Are they needs or
What
are they needs or are they needs?
Their needs and wants and.
It's a skill. They can advocate.
It is, they definitely can.
That's good.
They are assertive, and we did learn that Dr. Cummings and I may be the only adults that push the kids on the swing, because I was told today that there was a rule against that. The adults are not supposed to push kids on the swing. The kids are supposed to pump their legs. Jay and I did
There's
not
not a
get
rule
that
I haven't broken.
memo.
It's like one after another.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Wow.
The kids do always thank me for bringing the silly guy or the big guy to recess.
It's fun.
So it is the highlight. I love going over to North Grafton and South Grafton Elementary School. The kids are great. So I'm here with my spring update. It is not as lengthy as the fall update because in the spring we're sort of preparing for the fall almost. We are in the process now of meeting in each of the buildings with the principals, determining what their staffing needs are, who's leaving, whether they're retiring, relocating, moving from one position to another. So that's what we're in the midst of doing now, really looking at transferring staff that are interested perhaps from being a paraprofessional into a teaching position, or moving from one grade level to the next. We look at certification and remind teachers that their certification needs to be renewed. What professional development might they need? What assistance might they need with DESE? We look at enrollment and, do we have 6 sections of first grade or do we have 5 sections of first grade? And if we're going down to 5, what do we do with that other staff member? Those sorts of conversations happen in the spring. And then we move on to what are our anticipated openings for the next school year. And typically we try to post for those positions right after April vacation because we like to get a jump on it and get a jump on the market. And as we have in the last couple of years, it's worked well for us. And then we start, thanking our staff that are looking at retirement. I have a number of staff that are retiring, but I've not been allowed given the permission yet to make those names public. So I will update you with those names probably in the fall, if not, if we have a summer meeting. One of the job openings that I do have that I'd like to post sooner rather than later, I believe Debney Marlette has given you her resignation for the end of this school year, effective June 30th, and she is our school committee administrative assistant. So I believe Jay shared 2 different job descriptions. One was the old and updated. So we would like to get permission from the committee to post. And then the other piece of information that I need from you is to see if there's an openness to continue having this position be remote. Because I know that Debney has been doing that, watching the videos and then recordings and then putting the minutes together. And then once spring comes and goes, we move into summer, and really that's, although people believe that the school districts are quiet and shut down during the summertime, that is not the case for Human Resources Department nor for the administrators in the buildings. We really start looking at who are our new teachers, what kind of orientation do they need, what kind of training do they need. We look at mentor assignments and training our mentors. Any curriculum projects, we'll be sending out an all-call to our staff to see what type of projects they would like to work on over the summertime. We are, as we presented our strategic plan the last meeting, and on there was revamping our professional development. So we're really looking at what are individual needs, what are building needs, grade level needs. And we're starting to build the choice workshops and also putting together building-based professional development. So although I only have 2 slides, it is a lot of work in the next several months, and it's great work. It's really exciting and challenging. Any questions for me?
Jen?
I think I should probably know this, but do we have any positions that we're opening that might have a void in our, like, for example, when the math department, like when you get the math coordinators and the teachers came down, that position came out later, like the search. Do we anticipate anything else that's in district that might be opening up that people might move into if they're hired?
I think that because we know what some of those newer positions are already, and we'll be posting for those, it'll be a lot faster than sort of what happened last year with the math coordinator and math specialists, because those were 3 fairly big positions that opened up late spring, and then we were shuffling to fill them. And we've also, over the last several years, had quite a few new teachers come into district just for lots of different reasons. And I have not seen as much movement, other than the retirements, and we're already starting to think about those.
Right.
So I'm hoping that we're a little bit more stable than we have been in terms of staffing.
No, that was only because I think it came as a surprise
It did.
as it was happening. And there's just a lot of change. So, I mean, it's nothing you can do. But I just didn't know if there was anything that we can anticipate that I don't see.
Not,
Yeah.
not that I'm aware of at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Amy,
Yeah, sorry.
Kristen, do you need that answer tonight? Were you gonna bring that up?
I think we can discuss it. I don't know that it's something that needs a vote, but I guess I'll state that I am okay with it being remote, because I think that's gonna be a tough position to fill if we just want somebody to come in and do minutes at our meetings twice a month. Like, that's gonna be really impossible to fill in this environment. I'm totally happy to have somebody do it from home. It'd be a nice way for a stay-at-home parent to make some extra money. And, all you have to do is, most of us have probably done it, watch a meeting and, write down what happens and submit it to us for our approval. I don't think it needs a huge amount of debate, but does anybody have any concerns about that?
No, I agree. I think it's worked out well. Been any issues with that, so.
I think ideally we'd want to find somebody that's at least somewhat familiar with the district. Only because it makes it, like, when Debney left, she knew the people on the school committee, she knew the staff, so she could identify who was speaking, which is often a little bit tricky on the recordings, but, and then over Zoom, obviously, because our little boxes had our names, that was helpful. So it might need to be somebody that, maybe we give them dossiers on each of us with voice samples or something, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, they can
Identify.
also learn that too. I mean, they can
I think
watch,
you can,
watch
but I
a few
think-
videos and
yeah.
they can pick up on that pretty quickly.
Watch these 16 meetings.
There's only.
But if they have a question, they can always ask
Yeah.
Jay or Kristen.
No, I think it'll probably be easier to fill this way.
I think so too.
I can't believe this description is from 1976. I was 2.
We are working on trying to update job descriptions.
Well, it does say March 2022 that it was revised, but, yeah. All right.
Or it's an opportunity for us to actually have an assistant, like some of the other boards have, where Jay isn't the one photocopying books, and we have someone taking minutes at our, policy and providing us with what we need. It's worked out great, but I don't think the budget probably entails that.
No.
Actually, I'm going to say I know the budget doesn't entail that, so strike that from the record, Debney. I'm fine with it being virtual, but,
It does say assist the committee in all administrative aspects of their duties. So that to me is like other duties as assigned. This
Right.
could be somebody that does the meeting minutes remotely, but maybe comes in and does copying if that's necessary.
There are
Yeah.
also ways to phrase a job description where there are requirements and then there are nice to,
Nice
we
to
always say
haves.
nice to haves, bonus if you can also attend meetings and things like that. So we get, they get extra points if they maybe can do those things as well, but we're not going to limit our scope to only people who can show up maybe.
yeah.
I agree. Does that give you what you need?
I believe so. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chris.
Amy, if you're okay with it, our wonderful principals forgot to mention one thing.
Oh, is
can
that
they
why
come
they're still
back?
here? I thought they just love us.
You have to come up to the thing.
You have to, yeah, you can come up to the table again.
Thank you, Kristen.
It'll be quick.
Thank you very much.
We would just,
Go ahead.
I had intended to put a plug in for kindergarten registration.
Oh,
Which is
absolutely.
a little bit of a shift from where we've been over the course of the last 2 years. We are currently in the registration process, so families at any point in time right now can go online to the Grafton Public School website and register for kindergarten. And then coming up next week, the 13th, April 13th, we are both doing in-person parent orientations at the schools. And then subsequently that week, we will also be sending out a sign-up to any family that has registered to be able to come in for in-person screening.
Great.
So we are really looking forward to that, and wanted to just get the word out there. And, you know, obviously it goes out through the district website, it goes out through our updates, and I think like in the newspapers and whatnot, but just want to take an opportunity to share that out.
Did you say
And
what
just-
was the deadline for kindergarten registration? Did you say?
There really isn't, but the sooner the better. And just a reminder that students must be 5 on or before September 1st in order to register for kindergarten, because sometimes that is not known. So we're doing well so far. We have quite a few that have registered, but we know there's always going to be somebody else out there. So if they can hear us tonight or see this tonight and take care of that registration, that would be great.
Is it a one-stop shop for kindergarten registration, or do you have to know which school? Is there one
So
link?
you go onto the portal through Grafton Public Schools to register, and you'll register based on where you live. You'll register for the school that you believe is your registration. But if, let's say, Mrs. Torres gets a registration and she sees an address that's a South Grafton address, she'll immediately connect with South Grafton, and they'll reach out to let that person know, like, this is actually
They
a
just
South
send it,
address.
yeah.
So,
Great.
but you can do everything online, which is, I think,
It's a nice change.
It is a nice
it's been
change.
a nice change, and it populates right into the Power School system, which is wonderful, and so,
That's really cool.
There were silver linings to all of this.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
I don't have to bring my electric bill to register my child for kindergarten anymore.
But screening last year looked a little bit different, obviously, than it has in the past, but we're back to good old
Come on in.
kindergarten screening, everybody coming in, kids together, being able to do a play-based part to it, and getting to know the kids, so.
That's
we're
great.
excited about that.
We're back.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for
Thank you
hanging
again.
around. and- I mean, that could have been an email, but it's lovely to see you again.
But now it will get in the paper, maybe.
Well, yeah. I'll just share it on Facebook tomorrow.
Thank you.
Student representative reports. Hi, Annabelle. Hey, I have a question for you before you start.
Yes, of course.
Did you swamp my lawn yesterday?
I did.
I thought that was you. My husband was like, what is going on outside? And I'm
I
like,
did,
our ring
yeah.
is freaking out. I go, oh, I think that's Annabelle. Oh, I'm getting swamped.
Yep.
You'll have to explain what that is now because
Okay. So Bon Voyage is like does a fundraiser during the fall and the spring now, and previously it's been flocking with flamingos, but now that we're gators, we do swamping with alligators. And large letters across the front lawn. And people can make a donation in the little orange sign folder and swamp another house. And it's a lot of fun. And it's also fun to move them around.
I'll
I have
bet.
to say, it's exciting. But
I
it
noticed
is
you had a
like-
little trouble with the P.
Yes,
The P is like
the P,
much lower than all the rest of the letters.
Yes.
It's pretty funny.
the P often tries to fly away. And it's like difficult because the stakes, it's just
How many sets do you guys have now? Is it
Two.
It's just two? Okay.
two still, yep.
Is there a way for someone to register online, or, because you said the little orange thing, but can they say,
Yeah.
I would like to swamp
So it's like kind of like you have to be swamped to swamp someone else almost, but sometimes someone will choose not to swamp another person and then we have nowhere to go. So if that happens, then someone will usually like reach out to like one of the Bon Voyage committee members.
Just
and then-
Venmo Heather McHugh.
Yes.
Donation, and they will swamp you.
Yeah, they'll send me your info.
There you go.
And it has to stay in Grafton.
Yes. That's super fun.
That's key.
Yes.
And no HOAs. Sorry. You know about those. All right. What else do you have for us?
Okay, spring sports have started. Very exciting. There's a baseball game actually at Polar Park this Friday. It's 7:30 and free admission.
Oh, fun.
Very exciting. Today was the end of quarter 3, so on to quarter 4. Last one. And a new competitive dance club has started.
Oh,
Yes, thanks to Haley Arndt and Jennifer Terry.
Cool.
So that's very, very exciting. And the theater is this weekend. So Grafton High presents Grease on Friday at 7, Saturday at 7, and Sunday at 2. And tickets can be sold on or can be bought online and at the door. That's all I have.
and what member of this committee is
And
in it?
Moroska is currently over there
Playing the best role,
trying to do it. Yep.
right? Is that the best role?
I think so.
Yeah, the dance thing is pretty exciting,
That's
and
cool.
I wanted to kind of point out
Yeah.
that's something that kind of came out of our meeting that we had with the student representatives last week. And it was mentioned at the meeting by Haley, and I guess, did they meet with you or
They did.
Dr. Carney? Or you?
They met with me.
Yeah. They mix you up, so you might want to wear a name tag next time.
I'm okay with it.
But yeah, apparently there's a lot of interest and really exciting that, it's a sign to me that things are kind of getting back to that normalcy where the kids realize, like, I wish we had X. Guess what? We can have X now. So here you go.
Well, I think it's great that they never knew how to go about it and for actually to now be formed so quickly. That's exciting, so that's great.
And I heard you're going to hire a coach. Is that what I heard?
We might. We're going to start off, this year is going to be very informal.
Yep.
Which makes sense, through the spring, see what kind of interest they have, use that, what do we call that little, like, workout room?
lifetime
It's almost
room,
like
that's-
it's set up for
that's-
dancing.
It is a dance room.
So they're going to use that. There aren't any competitions coming up this spring anyhow. So kind of get their feet under them. If they can find an advisor, we'll figure that out. Basically, what we're thinking is going to follow the model that we use for robotics, where they have an advisor, they practice kind of throughout the year, but they go to these occasional events or competitions. So that's the model, and they seem super excited about it.
I think similar to how they found an indoor coach, like for a track, maybe you can do the same.
I did suggest it. I even sent him a potential outfit.
He does have an outdoor track right now, though, so
Oh.
dance is
Yeah.
out of.
I mean,
It's okay. He's not
it's a
busy in the
passion
fall.
of mine, dancing. I mean, I'm good.
Well, and I heard that they're going to try to dance at the basketball games, which I think is fantastic. That's one thing that I was told over
I
the weekend
remember
while I
that.
was at a
There was
competition.
a lot of dance talk.
There's a lot
but,
of dancing.
But again, it's going to be good. I think the model is good. I like that we're going to build up and see what happens this spring. But it sounds like there's a lot of interest. A bunch of kids have mentioned it to me already.
Great.
And I did want to, because we had them come in, the robots team, Eravos, placed in the top 16
Yeah,
at their competition, and that's huge. And I think that's probably the
They did
highest
great.
that they've ever placed,
I
which
believe
is
so.
encouraging as they gear up for Worlds. So congratulations to them, and go to Worlds. Bring back a trophy. It's great. Is that it for you? Because it's budget time. You ready?
I'm so ready.
You don't get a vote, but you can ask questions if you want.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll just put this up. I don't have a presentation.
What?
I'm just going to put up the slide, the budget slide.
The presentation at Finance Committee went very, very well last week. Very nice job by
Thank
you and
you.
Danita. They clearly loved the parts about how cooperative and collaborative it's been this year with Evan and
Yep,
Mary?
That's been terrific. So tonight, the school committee is being asked to vote on the FY23 operating budget for the school department. The vote reflects the total, not the breakdown by account, but I put that up there just to share it. And so that total is $41,858,118.
take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to approve the fiscal year 2023 operating budget for a total of $41,858,118.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Say so now. All right. We'll move to a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? All right, it passes. Thank you very much for all your hard work, Jay.
My pleasure.
Please pass along our congratulations and felicitations to Anita for entering all of those lines of the budget. It's a lot of work. I'm sure it was very tedious. All right, we will move on to future agenda items, right?
Yes.
Okay. We have 4 meetings remaining in this year. So I want to make sure that we have everything in here that we need, because it's going to get more difficult to get people to come in if we need to. So the next meeting is the 26th, so right after break. We're going to have the summer programming report, special education report. The following meeting, we will, at that meeting, actually also, I believe Jay is going to present his self-evaluation. Is that correct? It's not listed here, but I believe that's true.
That would be on the 26th?
Yeah, I think so, because if the evaluation's the 10th.
Yep, I'll have it to you by the end of next week.
Okay. Great. And then at that meeting, we'll also kind of go through the process of the evaluation. And we'll go home 2 weeks, come back and discuss what the evaluation is and approve it. That's how that works. Does anybody have questions on that right now? Okay. And then the 24th, we're going to have Kevin come back and do update on the internship program, the handbook. We'll get an update on the budget for this year, and we'll reorganize as a committee because that's post-election. So we'll be doing some reorganization. So we will say goodbye to Jen on the 10th.
So you can put party right there.
Party for Jen.
Ooh,
Is that a
yeah.
celebration?
Party
Yeah. Did you?
for Jen.
You already did?
Connellation?
And then the 24th will be Miss Weber's last meeting. She will be done with school at the end of that week. Yeah. It's not in here, but we do have another meeting with the student reps.
24th.
I'm sorry?
May 24th.
It is May 24th. Okay, so I'll add that in
And
there.
they know that.
Student meeting. Did you get reimbursed for the pizza?
I sent in my,
Yep, it's been
I
put in.
sent it in. I got asked several times.
Couldn't rush to send it.
That's right. And then we have nothing. We would meet on June 14th, but we don't have any agenda items for that date at this time. Because we will reorganize, there will likely be a new chair. So at that point, that's when, unless people want to add things to that agenda now. I'm trying to remember, did we even meet June of last year? I think we did.
I think we did.
Yeah, we met so
And then
much.
we were done. We didn't meet at all in July,
Right,
because we made everybody take vacations.
yeah,
And then our first meeting back was
end of August, I think.
end of August.
But
So
we'll probably
we will-
retreat or something.
Yeah.
I
Would-
would like, sorry, I'd like to, to see an update from Gabby, like the
Yeah.
equity.
I think
Okay.
It doesn't have to be before me, but I still think I'd like to see it by the end of the school year.
Okay.
I have appreciated her updates in the, she sent out, it's either been in the principal's email or it's just
Yeah, it's in the high school.
It's the high school,
Actually, yeah.
which has
I
been
really
really
liked
good.
that. I thought that was nice that she involved the students in that.
Yeah. Is there a possibility to get the science fair winners to come in?
I would love to get the science fair winners to come in.
Or, those top three? Is that something that could happen?
Sure. The 26th or the 10th? What would you
Whatever
prefer?
is best for the
Whatever-
children.
Yeah, whatever works best for them.
I mean, the young adults, students.
When's the last day of school?
Choice. Okay.
June
17th.
17th.
Yeah.
But some of them are seniors and they'll be done before then.
Oh, no, I'm just for my own.
The winners are not, though. The winners are sophomores.
Oh, the top winners
So
are
I
sophomores?
missed,
Is
so
that
I,
yours?
I
Your
went
kid?
to it, but I missed the winners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally
Oh.
missed the
Very
winners.
end.
They were sophomores.
So who ended up winning?
Oh, I know Maggie McLean, Avery Rosenfield, and I can't remember the third young lady. I'm so sorry.
That's why
Okay.
we need to bring them in.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look it up because I'm gonna feel awful, because I'm sure she's watching at
But I
home.
knew the third place team
Yeah.
was mostly seniors.
They're mostly seniors. It's very exciting.
But then I think
So-
also the team, the people who were in our meeting, the student,
Yeah.
the,
Yes, they were in there. Yes,
There we are.
I did see them. Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer Paluzzi. Oh no, that's the robotics. It says Grafton Hyatt students toward science.
Would the committee prefer the first place team or all three teams? My only caution is they all like robotics and it's a wonderful thing, but they love to talk about their projects. It's going to be,
I would say the first place, and if they can't
it's going to
come,
be a chunk of time, which is fine with me. But I just want you to know.
We don't have a lot going on the 26th, if they can come in.
Okay, I can do it on the 26th, but first, second, third?
I think
they
they should
all-
let them come in and do a 2-minute elevator pitch. That's an important life skill.
if they can come, they
If
might not be
can.
able to
If they don't
come.
want to, that's fine. I'll be crushed, but
So I have a question.
Answer.
I'm happy to, I love having them come in. I just wondered what, I remember asking when the DECA students were going to state, and I had suggested bringing some of them in, and I think the response from the committee was, well, we don't really do that. So I'm a little confused
We
as
don't
to-
bring the DECA students in because
You
there's
don't
so
bring
many
the
of them.
DECA students.
There's
Okay.
so
We
many.
have brought DECA students in the past. I think we were stopping having kids come in, but, I mean, this is just my personal opinion as a committee member. I love to see our kids succeeding.
I agree.
If they can come and be, this has been a big missing piece of our committee meetings, I think.
Well,
So I don't-
I was wondering afterwards, because I remember that, and then we brought the robotics team in, which is great. I agree. I love having the kids come in, and so I was a little confused as to
This was 2021.
why we don't have DECA kids in. I
My-
know there's
my-
lots of them, but
Yeah,
there were.
there's lots of them was one.
I understand, but
Now
there are
they've won-
few.
They're
who-
done, right?
Yeah, they're done, but there was a few who were
Yeah,
going
they
to
moved
state.
on.
It was a smaller group, but they were, you
I
know,
mean-
we could have had some representatives in or
We
something.
could
to
definitely
talk
have
about.
them in. We've got time.
I mean, we pick and choose, we can't have, I think we don't often have, well, sometimes we'll have state champions, but, yeah, I don't think it was I don't even remember this conversation, so, but we've had, when Tyler was here, because one of our student reps was really into DECA, we had a lot of DECA, so it might have been that we had DECA,
Represented.
yeah, we felt that they had been representative, but,
I think
And
I
Mr.
remember
Maxwell came in too. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
Mr.
I remember
Maxwell's been in.
I remember
Yeah.
the response was, we don't do that. So that's why I just wanted to see what our kind of, I know we can't have everybody in, so see if there's been sort of a precedent built up over the years, or,
don't
or
remember
maybe
that
not. Maybe it's
conversation.
just
I don't remember
like-
that conversation
Okay.
either.
It just kind of stuck in my.
Well, we again, Jay, can you see if the DECA kids who went to states can
I mean,
come
it's
in?
been a while, so it might be
If they want to come in.
stale by
We
this
didn't have,
point,
we also
but-
didn't have time in the meat of the calendar.
Mm.
So I don't know when they went,
Mhm.
but we were really, really busy with stuff
Yeah.
up here. Now we're at the end of the year where we're just kind of trying to
Yeah, sure.
finish stuff up. We usually also, I just realized this, the Civics Program, we usually have an update from them. I know that Mr. Tarzik has moved on to another district, but he came in and he actually was on Zoom with us one year.
I think that was part of the
Is it the-
GMS school improvement, that
Okay,
plan, they were part
that's
of the
why. Okay,
presentation,
good.
it wasn't a
That's fine.
separate,
That's great.
a separate thing.
I just know that they just added that Civics MCAS.
I mean, I'd like to see the cast of Grease come in and do a little performance for us, but, I'm just kidding.
The cast of Grease. I just
I'm
now figured
totally,
out what you said.
I'm just kidding. I would,
They didn't win
really.
anything yet, so can't have them come.
You don't have to be, you have to
That
win.
competitive theater is a thing, you know.
Yeah, I know, Franklin just won.
Oh, really? Are you the coach?
Why would I be the coach of Franklin's theater?
Because we don't have that.
What time is the student rep meeting on the 24th? Is
It's
that at
5
6?
o'clock
It's
again.
at 5 o'clock
Or
again?
6
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, I'm
6
sorry.
o'clock, okay.
6 o'clock. All right. Anything else?
I tried to, she won't go. I'm trying to send Annabelle.
She wants to stay, because this is fun.
Doesn't want to.
She's gonna
Oh my
miss
gosh,
us.
She only has a couple meetings left.
She always is very tired crossing in the morning.
Well, that's because she's
Because it's 7 in the
Because
morning.
it's
That's
7 a.m.
why.
Come on.
It's 7 is pretty early.
Others like.
Because it's not a late start time, that's why.
Yeah.
Wait, I love that it's taken us this long, because I'm gonna find that science.
Oh, were you looking for the science? I found it.
Wait, I found it.
I found it. I know who, I found it.
Rohita. Thank you. Nucala. Effects of, I don't even know what that is.
Protists
on plant growth.
I know what all of those words are individually, but I'm not sure I understand.
That's why I need them to come in.
We need them to come in and explain it. If there's a giant plant that sings, even better. All right.
Doesn't eat people either.
That you know of. All right, approval of minutes. We have many sets of minutes. I would like to start with the March 8th minutes of the main committee, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from March 8th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any changes, corrections, comments to the minutes? Annabelle looks ready to burst over there. All right, seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. March 22nd, 2022, I'll take a motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from March 22nd, 2022.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Comments, suggestions? I believe this is the right set. I had submitted a couple of changes, and they were put in. We added the names of the robotics team members. And there was a significant change under member reports. It got a little convoluted because one person reported on something that 3 people did, and one person reported on something that 2 people did. I just cleaned it up to make sure that everybody got credit for all of the things that they did. So it's right now. That's it. That's correct. Any further comments? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries. Policy Subcommittee meeting minutes. Dr.
Yes,
Cummings,
I'd like
do
to.
you want to sit at the hot seat?
I will. You want me to?
No, it's
Oh,
fine.
okay. I do want to own a mistake that I made in terms of advice to the school committee. I have not been asking for minutes from our subcommittees, and I should have, so I apologize. In our case, our subcommittee, the one that meets the most often by far is Policy Subcommittee. And subcommittee minutes are intentionally very, very minimalistic. They don't, the state doesn't expect that with a subcommittee, I think I know they're well aware that we don't have somebody watching remotely and taking minutes, he said, she said, et cetera. So they're very basic, but they are required. So that's 100% on me. I have already started the process of going back and creating subcommittee minutes from past meetings. I'll make sure that we're creating minutes and having them approved going forward. Just like tonight, they'll be just included with regular sets of minutes or special meetings, et cetera. And for tonight, I went back as far as August 2021, and I have provided and run them by Laura and Liz 5 sets of subcommittee minutes for your consideration.
And just to be clear, you don't have to have attended or watched the meeting to approve these minutes. You're just agreeing that these were the things that we know were discussed. We know they were discussed because the result of the meeting was they brought those minutes to us, or those policies to us. So the list of policies is really the only important thing in there.
Right. And we actually, you as a committee, go above and beyond in terms of transparency in that we put that working Word document, or it's a Google Doc actually, with the input, the changes, modifications, et cetera. We make that public and put that in our book on a regular basis when talking about policy, and very few districts do that. So shy of my mistake, I think we are way above board in terms of transparency and how we capture minutes.
If it pleases the committee, I think given the simplistic nature of the minutes, I think we can do this in one motion.
Agreed.
As long as all the dates are included, yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So being that I wasn't present at the first half of the,
You can still vote yes.
okay.
You can
Or
also
you could abstain if you're more
Okay.
comfortable with that.
So can I abstain from some and approve the others?
If we do it in one motion, you can.
I can do up until, when did you come on?
So my last one will be November 22nd in here.
Okay, so we'll do 2 motions.
Okay, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the subcommittee policy, or the policy subcommittee minutes for August 17, 2021, September 27th, 2021, October 20th, 2021, and November 22nd, 2021, as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 401.
He's made a face. I thought you were thinking of something.
No, sorry. I'm jumping ahead to policy.
We're not
It
done.
didn't,
We're not done
okay,
with
keep
minutes yet.
going. Well,
It didn't get in the
enjoy it,
book.
because there's not much on policy. I didn't put the packet in.
What's online?
It's online.
Yeah, it was
If you don't have
published.
access, I mean, we can always wait too. But
Yeah, it's not.
All right, well, let's
my
get
second
this-
error.
We'll do this. Do you want to make the motion, Graciela?
I make the motion to feed me the language. Approve policy subcommittee meetings from February 16, 2022.
Second.
Motion being seconded. Any further comments? I'd like to thank Jay for pulling these together so fast. All right, move to a vote. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Now we move on to the warrant. Is there a warrant?
No warrant.
There's no warrant.
Nope.
FY23 budget, we already voted. So that's out. Policy. Yeah, so they're not in the physical book, but they are online.
It's up to you. And we also, yeah, so we have things to discuss, so.
Yeah, we offered to go to the table too, and
So I had a question. I think sometimes it's hard for people to follow along at home. So if we can hook up, I think it's probably the smart thing to do. And also Liz and I want to sit at the table.
Go.
Laura does.
I want to seat at the table.
Why don't you present what you have and we'll decide if
Yeah.
people don't feel comfortable voting.
Go through here.
Are we gonna have to go through that? That's what I was wondering. That's fine. So I can drive, Liz, you can bring yours and read off maybe? Yeah. Just make it. I'm sorry, I meant to tell you that earlier. I forgot. Flexibility.
Jay, do you want to, so
He's gonna use his.
because it's already connected?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I kinda knew all this and I apologize. And we can start next time if it's a PETA.
We're trying something new. These
Yeah.
are always part of our packet. They're posted. Everyone can follow along at home. But we're trying to make it easier.
And for those of you who are looking for these items, if you go to the district website, click on School Committee, look on the left side, Meeting Materials, the very first link are the meeting materials for tonight's meeting, and there's a document in there. I should bring it up because I'll know what the name is when I do that.
Policy Subcommittee meeting,
that
April
what it says?
4th. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Policy Subcommittee, there it is.
Yep.
Yep.
So actually, I mean, we could, while he's doing that, we could talk about the staff vaccination policy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Because,
okay.
if you can't do it, Jay, I
It's okay.
apologize.
Just, nope.
This
keep
is
going.
definitely
We'll
my
s-
fault. I didn't let Jay know this in advance.
It's okay. We're trying something new. We'll
Can do it next
We'll
time.
begin talking while we're
Annabelle,
getting
you can
set
go
up,
home
but
now.
And
Thank you.
you do spring sports?
I do.
What do you do?
Lacrosse.
All right, good luck.
We had a game today, actually.
How'd you do?
Won
Yay.
14-3.
Wow.
Wow,
Against who?
that was a tough match.
Against
A
who?
lot of Team Task Force.
Wow, nice.
We haven't lost against them in 9 years.
Nice.
Wow.
Congrats. Good way to start.
We'll see you over the weekend, or the next time you come to
Oh.
visit my lawn.
Wednesday,
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I don't know what else.
I'll be sad because those gators are so cute.
Good night.
Hi.
It should be in the drive, Jay.
yeah, it's in the packet.
So if you just go on to, yeah. Policy Subcommittee, there it is.
Yep.
Perfect.
Awesome.
There
I
you
just
are.
didn't want all my
I see
emails
you in there.
too.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
I'm
the
sorry about
first
that.
policy that we wanted to talk about tonight was one that we were asked to kindly review again. It was a policy that we put in place back in December, as you recall, and then we looked at it again after the mask mandate was lifted and revised it slightly. We were asked by, I believe, some teachers to give consideration to this policy once again. What's that?
It was two units, the custodians and the teachers.
The custodians and the teachers. Okay, thank you. We were asked to look at this policy again, so we added it to our agenda for our meeting that occurred yesterday. We did look at this policy and discuss it. We discussed the issue that was raised, the concern that was raised, and Kristen gave us a report about what that was. And so we discussed it. We also brought up the fact that we believe our policy is very flexible and somewhat more flexible than some other districts, given that it does require that staff be vaccinated, but there is a backup of being able to present evidence of testing or getting tested at the school as an alternative, and not a strict you must be vaccinated or go policy. And we also thought that we discussed that this was a place of employment as well, and that we're seeing in the community that other places of employment are requiring people to be vaccinated, and that this isn't, it's not an uncommon and not an unreasonable request of our employees within the school district. We did some research and just as a sort of sanity check, didn't see other school districts that were lifting this at this time. But, we did talk about it, and we appreciate the concerns that were raised. And we resolved to keep it as it was and present it to the committee just as is, but noted that we were committing to review this again in 3 months or less, because things change. And this is a policy that has already evolved twice, so we committed to look at it again.
So we don't need any action from the committee on this unless the three of you disagree with us, and then we can make make your edits. But,
I just have a question. You mentioned that you had consulted with some other districts.
I was,
No?
well,
Oh, no, it wasn't- okay.
Not consult, I wouldn't use
Not-
the word consulted, just did
Just
some-
looked around?
Looked around to see in the policies of other school districts, some of the same school districts that we were looking at when we were changing the policy and developing the policies, and to see if people had been retracting them, and we weren't
Okay.
seeing that. It's not, I'm sure it wasn't a comprehensive list.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's no districts out there that have it. I don't know. I didn't look at, every, 341 school districts.
Yeah,
in the
no.
state of Commonwealth. But it wasn't, we weren't seeing that.
Are we expecting them to also do it during school vacation week? So it says at least once a week, I don't know. That's all.
no, because they do it at school. They don't it's not the home test.
Yeah. No, I'm just like, I'm looking at the wording, so it says at least
Yeah.
once a week, so I don't know.
I mean,
I think it's understood that these are the weeks that they're going to be in school. So if they're on vacation, they don't have to take the test, and
if they want to, they can.
they could.
But
Yeah,
nobody's
they-
gonna
we're
be-
not-
When I
not
went
gonna
to
be
thread
there
that, we're
to
talking
get
about a very small number of people here. This is not a third of our employees or a fourth of our employees. This is double digits, maybe, we're talking about now?
Correct.
Okay,
Less than 30.
okay. So under 30 people that are impacted by this at this time,
And
And
we-
not
in
all.
terms of having to test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we want to be a welcoming work environment. We don't want people to feel excluded or isolated or different than everyone else. But we talked about the process by which people are getting the testing, and it seems to be minimized in terms of pointing out who's getting tested and who's not. So I think the district is doing, the best job that they can to minimize, there's not a big, as we understand, there's not a big queue of people staying outside where, they're all wearing signs that say, I'm not vaccinated, I'm getting tested today. We're, trying to be sensitive to that. And and that is something that we took into consideration and discussed, because we want this to be a comfortable environment for all of our employees, vaccinated or not.
What do we think?
I'd like to make a change perhaps, of at least just stipulating somewhere that at least once a week while in session, or while, like, if it's gonna be a policy, don't leave it so, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's not during the summer, or if it's not during the school week, maybe somehow
I think there's
add
Or
that.
ordinarily, I would agree with you, but we're talking about this being this has been in place all along. Like, we put this in place like this.
I know, but that I'm saying, are we expecting them to throughout the summer?
Well, we didn't deal with it.
No.
I think we're gonna end up removing it before the summer.
I'm just saying it's a policy, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to help
Yep, no,
word the
I-
policy.
Our thought actually,
Yeah.
Madam Chair, was to review it before the start of the school year, so
Okay.
we're not planning to review it again before the end of this year. I mean, Jen, I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's fine. We can certainly vote and update it on I really would like to think that people understand that the school is closed. They're getting tested in the school.
I am just, as.
I don't think
I
that's
was
been a
just-
confusion over February break.
No.
I mean, it's
That
fine.
was just my
It's-
opinion, that was all.
Yep, we can,
I mean, if we do it, we have to do a first reading tonight and then do a second reading in 3 weeks, because we didn't publish that change.
right.
So
And
we
then
can't
I'll-
just change it tonight, and so we're gonna miss the break window anyway.
Not, it's just mine.
No, I
It's-
know,
It's
I'm-
only one vote.
I know, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
if we wanted to do that, it would miss that window, so. I'm fine leaving it as is. If they come back, if we tell them we're leaving this in place as is, what happens then? Is there any other, do they have any other avenue?
So we do have some staff that have begun the process of progressive discipline for refusal of testing. And so that's an internal process that will continue to happen.
That's outside the committee's
Correct.
responsibilities, okay. All right. All right. We don't have to vote, so,
Would you like us to move on?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you. Jen, we'll keep that in mind when we revise it next time, though. Thank you. All right. This is kind of nerve-wracking sitting up here.
Hey, I don't suppose you can make the font bigger, because I wonder if people at home can actually read it.
We'll think of that for next time.
Okay,
Yeah, I
We're
think
doing great doing this.
all right,
it's
fair enough.
helpful, I think. So the rest of the policies that we're presenting tonight address bus driver requirements and, well, all things bus, I suppose. I was trying to categorize it together. So this first one does address bus driver requirements specifically. We updated this to improve the inclusivity of the pronouns. But we did discuss a bit about, one of the things we've tried to do as a committee is streamline our policies. When I started on this committee, we had 271 policies. Some of them were policies, some of them were not. And some of them could be combined. We want to keep in mind that these policies are there for a reason and to be read and utilized. And if there's too many, it makes it difficult to keep them up to date and makes them difficult to follow and actually put to use the way they ought to be. So we did talk a little bit about whether or not this ought to be a policy or not, because it has to do with some of the things that we, at least for our employees, we typically have been taking out of policy because they are part of job descriptions and things like that. This one we did discuss, and I think I speak for the committee that we resolved in the end.
Yeah, you
that,
did.
It was a point that I brought up, so I wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
it was
no,
resolved.
yeah.
That because the bus drivers are not our school district employees, because they are contract employees, we thought it was helpful to have a policy in place that we could point to or give to a transportation to say, here's our policy regarding the requirements. This is what we expect the drivers to abide by. These are the standards that we expect them to follow. The general duties, the requirements for if there are requested stops, for example. If a student requests to get off at a different house than it is their normal stop, that there's part of this policy covers that, so that they can point to that if a parent complains and says, well, I told my kid to ask to get off at his aunt's house, but there's reasons that we just can't do that for safety reasons. Operations, discipline. We didn't really change much of this, other than, like I said, some of the pronouns and the more inclusive language that we've been updating on all of the policies that we've gone through. And then the last paragraph, we updated the language just a bit. I did, and I'm going to, so this is one of the things that we discussed at our meeting last night, and I can delete this in real time, but we could not find a copy of the booklet that, making a change. Okay. I'll wait for, in case people are watching, I'll wait for you
Yeah,
to
I
get down
just
to the bottom.
made a quick edit with that. A bus driver may release a child to their guardian versus their parent. catch that yesterday. Okay, I'm
So
ready for you.
this, this bottom part, so this school bus requirements booklet was not something that appeared to be published with the RMV anymore. So we discussed that, and then after the meeting, I was going to check again and look for it, and I didn't find it. So we resolved if I couldn't find it, then we were going to suggest removing the entire reference to that. So we changed that to just they should adhere to the applicable rules and regulations of the RMV regarding their license requirements. We noticed in here we didn't have anything that said they had to be a licensed driver or that they had to pass a query. And that's part of the RMV requirements, so that this is a link to those. So this, so that whole bit, yeah,
Yep.
will be,
We
the
deleted.
highlighted portion we're going to delete, we're
Yeah,
proposing to
which you'll
delete.
see when we bring it back for a second reading.
Yeah. Do you want me to just keep moving through the rest of them? They're very similar.
Anybody have any comments, questions, or anything on this?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. All right, the next one is about student conduct, what they're required to do on the buses. And goes through the fact that they have to conduct themselves in a manner consistent with the code of behavior of the school. So it's consistent with that. Pretty simple. And then the principal can deny the student the opportunity to ride the bus if the conduct if the conduct warrants that. Moving on, this one we did recommend to delete. This was a bus conduct report. We learned that the bus company actually has their own forms that we've been using for years, which are perfectly good, and we've not been using these forms. We didn't see any reason to ask them to use our own form, and didn't see any reason that it ought to be part of a policy either. So we recommend deleting this from our policies. And then code of behavior on the school buses. This also relates to the students who are riding the bus, boarding the bus, riding the bus while leaving, and general bus conduct. The only change we made to this was to include not just smoking on the buses, which is forbidden, but also vaping and drug use, which we do not want them doing on the buses. We just weren't sure why we listed smoking and not those other related sorts of behaviors. So that was the only change we made to this. So I'll continue to move through. The last one is special use of buses for field trips and extracurricular activities, athletics. This just says that we will provide transportation, and it's provided with the approval of the superintendent. Change students from pupils. That's another thing we've been trying to change, just to update the language to make it more current. And yeah, it's pretty simple. List the types of transportation that will be provided to students on the buses. And I think that's it.
Any questions? I had one thing. Under riding the bus, smoking, vaping, and any drug use on buses, it says is forbidden.
Okay.
That's multiple things. Yeah. I'm struggling with the first one, because it says consuming food or beverages on school buses is not permitted. Sounds wrong, but I think it's right, because it's consuming. I think it's fine, but that one should probably,
It's not permitted, yeah.
that's weird. Maybe there's a way to fix two so it's not as awkward. I don't know why. 'Cause drug
Students
use-
are not allowed to consume food or beverage on school buses.
Yeah, you can reword it a different way, so it's, but number two is weird because it's smoking, vaping, and any drug use. Like the any makes it singular, but it's not, it's plural, so it sounds weird. Anyway, I think this is great that we're going through and pulling out stuff that we don't use. And I hope that AA actually does give these to the drivers and show them. I don't know. I don't know if they do or not.
We can ask them.
Anybody have anything else? Okay. Is that the last one?
Yes.
All right. So we would have to have a separate motion to pull out the bus conduct report, because that would be gone after tonight.
Correct.
Would anybody like to start with a motion?
I make a motion to accept policy EEAE-R, bus driver requirement training, EEAC, student conduct on buses, EEAC-R, code of behavior on school buses, and policy EEAF, special use of buses, as a first reading.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Unanimous? Thank you.
And then I make a motion to have policy EEACE, bus conduct report, removed.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Okay. Motion carries unanimously, so that one's gone. Excellent.
Jay, how do I
You can just close it.
just close it and it just,
Oh, look at that.
look at that. Thank you so much.
All right, member reports. Does anybody have a member report? We know policy subcommittee met. They brought us these great policies. Oh, changes? Oh, are you all right?
Okay.
Anybody have any? Go ahead, Graciela.
We attended, three of us attended the diversity and inclusion committee meeting, right? For mask.
Two of us attended. I have to watch the recording.
Mask 2 weeks ago.
Felt like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago. I think it was on a week night. I found it very informative. That's my life. So it was good to hear perspective of a person that was letting us others know about the issues that schools see every day.
Key takeaways from that? Hard to narrow down.
It's it was powerful. It was diversity and inclusion, not from the race perspective. It was it was mostly dealing with the mental health issues in the schools lately, and what the schools are facing in terms of mental health and trauma, and supporting students who are in schools at this point, and kind of like eye-opening information about like what it's like to be in schools and for the students in the. So it was more than just diversity and inclusion. It was more related to the social emotional aspect of students right now, and trauma history and trauma-informed schools.
I'll look for that recording too. Sounds
Yeah,
great.
it's good. I also attended the science fair, but apparently I totally missed the winners of the science fair. Actually, I have not attended a science fair since I was in high school, so this was but it was great to see. It was great to see the students and talk to them a little bit. I found one very interesting. It was about attention, and they were measuring levels of attentions of students in the classroom. So I definitely talked to that person.
Caden Nashmore.
Yes.
Great.
I went and talked to him. He was very well spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well spoken. And I also talked to other students about saltwater and plants, and other students about creating current through magnets.
Ooh.
And I think one of the ones that won here, the app used to communicate in medical emergencies. So all very well-spoken students. I was glad to be there.
That's super. Anybody else? Liz?
I helped out at the class of 2024 spring craft fair and raffle on Saturday, which was an amazing event organized by Kathleen Shaker for the class of 2024. We raised $5,000 for the class, which is great because they weren't able to do a lot of fundraisers as a freshman class, so they're kind of playing catch up. So it was fun. It was very well attended, and it was nice to have an event like that in the schools again.
I saw you write something down, so I didn't know if you wanted to.
Oh, that was more like G term. Are we gonna have that?
Yeah, we are.
Discussed at one point.
Yep.
Yes, it's happening.
Yeah, that was that was more for you.
Oh, I know it's happening, but I don't have a student doing it, so I really can't tell you anything.
Yeah.
You probably have a student doing it.
Yeah, no, but like last time the teachers came in, I was thinking maybe we can have.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
That was a note to myself to tell
gotcha.
you.
Okay. I attended the vendor fair and spent a lot of money.
Oh, I
It was-
have your winning. I have a envelope for you.
Oh, my one raffle that I won for a dog cake, and I don't have a dog.
Your cats might want to eat it.
No, I have a niece dog, so I'll be giving it to her. But it was just funny that I over Venmo'd when I paid, and I ended up with double the tickets. And so I was like, well, whatever. I had a friend help me put stuff in. She says, oh, I put it in the dog thing, and I'm like, what dog thing? I didn't put tickets in that. And Liz texted me to tell me I'd won. And I didn't win any of the things that I wanted, but it was really an awesome event. It was great just to see the school full of people, you know, parents,
lot of money,
kids, parents who've never been in the building before were able to come in the building. I mean, we have 2 classes of high schoolers for whom their parents have probably not even set foot in. And they were wandering around and looking at how beautiful it is and how clean it is. It was really a great day. And I'm happy for the class that they were able to make up for lost earnings. I know the senior class sold a ridiculous amount of donuts last week.
Yes.
And every single class in the high school was absolutely on a sugar high for about 4 hours. So,
And household.
words
And
and wise, don't give out the donuts before lunch, because then the afternoon is a complete, forget it. Nobody learned anything that day. With the end of Q3, we have some interns starting tomorrow, and I'd like to wish them all the luck in the world. I hope they have a great experience. And they have to keep a journal and like a timesheet kind of thing. So it's a first experience for many of them to actually like put one foot in the working world. So it's been interesting to hear from a couple of kids that I know how that's all going to work. And that is. What else happened? Oh, the funding was approved. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, because that's been, yeah. So I went to the Community Preservation Committee. Gosh, it does seem like a month ago. And they did vote to put our playground request forward to the town. So town meeting. Everybody will get a chance to vote on that. And I'm going to tell you the date right now because I have it in my phone. It is Monday, May 9th at 7:30. I know you're going to see 7 o'clock, but that's wrong. It's 7:30. There are a number of other items that we'll get to vote on, but that'll be our one school item. And Jay is going to get up and do his excellent slideshow to convince people to vote for our playground. So if you have, talk to your friends, tell them about the project, have them come. I know our friends from CPAC will be there to speak to inclusion and accessibility. The Disabilities Commission has also given us their support. They will be there to speak. So I think it'll be a great opportunity. I hope we get it. So that is all I have. I promise. Correspondence, we don't have any. Correct?
Correct.
Executive session not needed. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Or we could sit here. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Good night, Grafton.